Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing the little booty slippers on 22 pin. So you'll have to forgive me because I have to, mine is a piece of crap. There is no, I don't remember the name brand. It's just some generic thing I paid $26 for. So this is just a toy. So I will have to use my hands to help turn it because it does bind up a lot. But using a decent tail, load your machine. So you're first going to wrap around the black one, find your black pin or your white pin depending on what machine you're using. Mine is black. And you're going to turn and you're going to go behind the next one and in front of the next one, behind this one, in front of this one, behind, in front. And you're going to do that all the way around, behind and front. So you're skipping one basically. See, mine's trying to bind up already. Mine is a piece of crap. I've got a bigger one coming that I'm going to be doing projects on. So I'm just using variegated yarn. It's going to change colors. It's not the prettiest in the world, so I don't really have anything to use it for, so I thought I'd use it for the video because it'd be nice and bright for you to see. Once you get to the pin right before your black one, you're going to go back behind it. That's where you should end off, is behind this pin. Put it into your little housing thing. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can drop it right down like into the thing here, or you can keep it. As far as wanting a little bit of tension, I found helps if you put it into the doorway like that. Sorry, I guess I wasn't on camera. So I thought it was also good because this machine does not like any sort of tension. You put any sort of tension on this thing and it binds even worse. So I find that it does help a lot to put it just up into the doorway like that. So make sure your door is closed. So when you start, you're going to have to take the first row really slow and watch to make sure that all your needles are catching that piece of yarn. Let's get going. I gotta push mine. So once you're done your first round, and you can see that it's catching, it caught all my pieces. It should probably be fine for you to speed up. We're doing 85 rows for this booty. So I'm obviously not going to show you all 85 rows, but so 85 rows is what we need. And you'll notice that I'm going to have to guide mine with my finger. These things like some yarns and they don't like others. If you were to buy a more expensive machine, you probably wouldn't have the problem I have, but I'm cheap. So I'm going to use my row counter because I don't have a counter on this thing. So every 5 rows I'm going to put, or every 10, whoops. So every 5 or 10 rows I'm going to put up here. So you'll notice me stopping in case you're wondering what I'm doing. So I've done 25 rows in a matter of a minute and a half. So we are at our 85 rows. So when you decide to cut your yarn, you need to cut enough that it's going to go around the machine, just to be on the safe side. So you can use waste yarn to cast off with, which means you just add a new color, an offsetting color, and then you just keep turning it. So I'm just taking my yarn out of my door. So what you're going to do here is you're going to turn the machine. So you want all these to drop down, and then you're going to, with your threaded needle, this is what I've threaded it with, you're going to pick up the stitch. Now for the first couple of them, I would just do one at a time, leaving these up so that it doesn't pull the other one off. But after you do a couple, you can do more than one at a time. So you just turn the machine and you take it off. So once you have it out of the machine, I'm still attached with my needle. I just had to move the machine out of the way and everything. So just give this a pull, and you're going to cinch this shut. So when you pull, it's just going to close. So we just want to kind of tack this together to keep it closed on this end. This will be part of the toe. So we don't want to put too many stitches in here, and you don't really need to. So I'm going to do a stitch and make a knot. So I'm going to come through this loop, and then I'm going to pull back and forth to tighten that knot up. And if you're comfortable putting in a second one, you can go right ahead, but just remember, first of all, it's just this hole that you got to tighten, that you got to sew up. But just remember, you're probably going to feel this with your toe. So when you make your knot, pull back and forth so you tighten that knot right down. So the other side, we're going to do the same thing. I had to get all my stuff out of the way. The other side, you're going to do the same thing, but you're not going to close it all the way. Just kind of leave it open for now. So with all knitting machines, with all knitting, you kind of got to stretch out the work a little bit. So we're just going to go all the way up, just stretching out the work a little bit. Come all the way back down. I'm a crocheter, so I'm not sure why we have to do this. I just know that it's recommended. So I've sewn this end up and keep my needle attached. So I'm gonna kind of grab halfway. I want a halfway point. I'm putting this inside of this. So I just want to use my hand now and push it up so that it's right up with this guy right there. There I am. I'm going to take my needle and put it up there too. I'm just going to pull it through. So now I've got two ends up here, and I've got it like this. So just make sure it's all, my toe's running this way. I'm going to need this toe to do the exact same thing. So cinch that up. I want you to tie these two together. I take my needle out. So tie these two together. Cinching this closed. I want you to cinch that closed at the same time. So pull really tight. Both sides. Make a double knot or a triple knot, whatever you think is going to secure it. I think a double knot's just fine. Make a double knot and make it nice and tight. I'm going to use this color because that's the color on my end. I just want to make a couple of knots. But when I make them, I stick my hand up here because when I make them, I want to make sure I'm going through both pieces. The part I just shoved in here that's already got a knot in it, but I want to make sure I'm putting these two together, because you don't want the inside slipping out all the time. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put 2 knots, just 2, at the very top of this, making sure that those 2 ends are together on the inside. So I got a big tail because that's just what I always make sure I've got more than I need, because I don't care if I have to cut some off. So now that I've made my 2 knots at the end, and I don't really want to make any more than that because that's where the toe is going, I'm going to go down into the first layer. So go down into following the colors, because mine's multicolored. So I'm pulling this up because I just want to go into the first layer, and I just want to hide my end in there. So I'm going to pull that down, cut that off, and I'll do the same thing with this color. So we're not done this slipper yet. Now we're going to crochet along the top using the same yarn that I was using, and we're going to make a cuff top on it. So if you're a crocheter, hopefully you are to follow this pattern, you're going to make a slip knot. So for ones that aren't, I'm using a 5mm hook. It's just because that's what was laying there, and this yarn calls for a 5mm. So make a slip knot. So I wound that around to make an X. I'm going to pick that up and put it over that guy, and I'm going to grab him. That's how I make a slip knot. So I'm going to reattach. So pick a spot. There's no stitches, so you're just going in wherever you can go in. Pull this through and attach. But we're going to do double crochets. So you're just attaching this to keep it secure, but I want you to put a double crochet into that same space. So I'll show you what a double is. So I'm just pulling down on that just to tighten it a bit. We're going to weave this end in later. So wherever you stick your hook, so yarn over, go into the next space wherever you want to stick your hook, and make a double crochet. Yarn over, go into your space, grab a loop. You have 3 loops. You're going to come through 2, yarn over, and come through 2. So that's a double crochet. Yarn over, go into wherever. It's mystery. Yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2, and just continue doing double crochets all the way around. So yarn over, go into your sock, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to continue this all the way around. You don't need to stick it in on, I'm sticking it in between every stitched or every knitted spot. So you're basically creating stitches here. But we're going to put a nice cuff on this. So continue this. I'll put my screen up so you know what you're doing, and I will see you on the other side. So I'm back around to where I started. You're going to, this first bit here, you're going to go to the very top chain, and you're going to slip stitch, and you're going to chain 2. So this is where we start making the cuff. And each one of these is called a post. That guy, it's called a post. So we're going to do front post, back post, double crochet. So you got your chain 2, you're going to yarn over, you're going to come around the back of this post, picking this post up on the front. This is a front post. So now that that's on your front, you're going to grab your yarn and pull through and just continue your double crochet like you would do a double crochet. And now your back post, you're going to yarn over, you're going to come from the back and you're going to go around the post. So now you've put the post on the back. You're going to yarn over, you're going to have to manipulate your work to pull through and finish your stitch. So that's your back post. So that's front post, that's your back post. And now you're going to do front post again. So yarn over, grab your front, pull through 2, pull through 2. Your back post, yarn over, come in through the back and go around that post and finish your stitch. So we're going to do front post, back post all the way around. So we're on a front post again. Back post, we're coming through the back and around the post. And we're going to do this for 4 rows. So if you get lost and you can't remember, say you've had to put this down and walk away, go get something to drink, and you can't remember what you're doing, where's my needle? Your front post is right up in your face, so it's right there, and your back post has got a bar in front of it, and it's right there. So that's how you identify whether you're in a front post or a back post. So let's keep doing this. So I've come back around with my front post, my back post. I've got nowhere left to go, so I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of this stitch. Maybe. There we go. Not sure why that's so tight. Slip stitch, chain 2, and we're going to do the same thing. So we don't alternate. We actually put a front post on top of a front post, and the back post, as you can see, it's got the bar in front of it, so that's the back post. Front post and back post. We're going to just stack it. So we're not alternating or anything. You're going to put a front post on top of the front post. And then the back post on top of the back post. It's just a lot easier to see now and a lot easier to get into. So we're going to do this for 4 rows. I'm not going to do all 4 rows with you, because that would make for a very long, boring video. So continue with your front post, back post, just stacking them. So where your back post is, you're going to put a back post there. And where your front post is, you're going to put a front post there. And I will see you after our 4 rows is complete. Alright, so I am back around. I just did my slip stitch. I'm going to fasten off. So I just want to weave in a little bit. So when I weave, I'm going to weave in the front here because we made this part to fold down. So I'm just going to do my weaving in the front. It's a little harder to weave when you've got a very different color, because it's kind of going to be noticeable. So I'm just going to weave a couple of times there. So then this folds down. You got to take care of this business down here. So I just weave in the back with this guy. So when you fold this down, that's the cuff now of the slipper. So this slipper will fit a 2-year-old toddler. So it is 6 inches long. You'll have to measure your child's foot, but for that size of foot, this is generally would fit a toddler. It's age 2, roughly 2.5, depending on the size of your child. So go ahead and make your second one, and I'll meet you right back here. So these are my slippers all done. They're very different colors because it was variegated. Anyway, there we go. Knitting machine tube slippers. So like I said, it'll fit up to a 2-year-old. But I mean, if you need it to be bigger, then I mean, you can unfold the cuff a little bit. It doesn't have to be folded down that much. So give a little more room for the foot. There we have it. There's your slippers. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.